Hello, hello, welcome back to Conceptember, and today we are taking a look at The Who's 1969 rock opera, Tommy. Um, yeah, this is a decent album. It is widely considered to be, at least to my knowledge, this is widely considered to be the first rock opera. Um, it's okay. It's a good album. It starts off song number one, Overture, or actually no, hold on. This album is the story of a deaf, dumb, and blind boy who learns how to play pinball and starts a cult. Yes. If you've never heard it before, yes, that's what happens in this album. Song number one, Overture. It's mostly instrumental to the last minute or so. It introduces several of the melodies we'll hear throughout the album, and that, Tommy's dad, died in the war. If you listen to the album, it's implied to be World War I. If you watch the movie, I think it's World War II. I haven't seen the movie. That's another one I would have to watch through 100% legal means. But yeah. It establishes that Captain Walker didn't come home. His unborn child will never know him. Song number two, It's a Boy. It's a 40-second track that should be a part of song number three, 1921. Again, It's a Boy should be the intro to 1921, or just part of Overture. You know what I mean? It's really stupid the way they did that, in my opinion. It's just real dumb. The fact that they separated that specifically into, and it happens a bunch. There's several of those that they separate out for no reason. It's just, I feel like it's meant to inflate the track list to sort of justify the fact that in 1969 this was a double album. Maybe it was done to justify people's purchases. But yeah. Song 1921, it's, got a feeling 21 is gonna be a good year. It's like, Tommy's mom and, the father figure now feel like it's gonna be a good year, except Captain Walker comes home, and whatever happens, something goes down as to where, either Captain Walker himself is killed, or the man that Tommy's mom replaced him with, basically, gets killed. Tommy witnesses this not directly, but through the mirror. The parents realize this, and they're like, "You didn't see a goddamn thing." And Tommy's like, "Yup, I didn't hear a goddamn thing." And so, basically, Tommy is now deaf, dumb, and blind. But how? Psychologically. He's psychologically deaf, dumb, and blind. He can't, it's purely, he is traumatized so severely by this that, all of those organs work. His eyes work. His vocal cords work. His ears work. His parents don't know that, but it's, totally psychological, and that's revealed at the end of the album. Song number four, Amazing Journey. This is the shit that goes down in Tommy's head. And what is the shit that goes down in Tommy's head? Well, despite the fact that this story is set in the 1920s and 30s, apparently, what goes down in Tommy's head is 1960s psychedelia. I don't think the time period is all that important, in all honesty. Song number five, Sparks. It's a continuation of The Amazing Journey. It honestly should have been part of that. Basically, in my opinion, it, and it also, quotes and steals, parts of a song from, their previous album, which I recall the Beans album right now. It's the one with Pete Townsend and Roger Daltrey holding cans of beans on the cover. You know what I'm talking about. Anyway, so they steal the melody from that, or from one of the songs on that. I forget the title of it at the moment. I've heard it. I know what it is. Or if I listen to it again, I know what it is. But yeah. So they steal that, and frankly, this this whole thing, this whole 3-minute thing should have been part of The Amazing Journey. It could have given us this kind of cool sweet, like a kind of cool 10-minute, 8-minute, multi-part kind of somewhat proggy suite. But that didn't happen. Song number 6, Eyesight to the Blind, parentheses, the Hawkers. I have no clue how this, it's the first attempt to heal Tommy. They take him to somebody called the Hawker. So it's the first attempt to heal Tommy, the first of many that goes awry. Song number 7, Christmas. This is the only song related to Christmas that it is okay to listen to before Black Friday, because this song is held within the context of this album. It's, again, right there. Song number 7, Christmas. But yeah, this is only appropriate to listen to within, outside of the season, within context of this album. It's not even all that related to Christmas, in all honesty. But anyway, but due to the fact that Tommy is deaf, dumb, and blind, his mother, who's apparently pretty religious, is worried that he's not gonna know God, and thus he's gonna go to hell. Because if you can't know God, you go to hell. Pretty sure that's how that works. Anyway, hey, at least at this point, Tommy's been introduced to pinball, and it's the first use of "Tommy, can you hear me?" And that repeats a couple of times throughout the rest of the album. Song number 8, Cousin Kevin. Tommy is left alone with Cousin Kevin, and is physically abused by him. He's tied to a chair. He has cigarettes burnt on him. Just listening to the song, it's very ewy. It's very uncomfortable. I don't think anything sexual goes on in this song. But it goes down in the next song, song number 9, The Acid Queen. Tommy gets more trauma, sexual this time. The line, "Your boy won't be a boy no more." It's just, oh my, yeah. They take him to the Acid Queen to try to get him healed. And, yeah, I'm not going to describe that, because YouTube's probably going to have a fucking aneurysm if I try to describe that shit. Song number 10, Underture, which is overture, but longer, darker, and needs cut. It's 10 minutes that could be totally done without, and could honestly be used later on in the album to sort of, flesh out what Tommy does after he gets healed. Song number 11, Do You Think It's Alright, which is 24 seconds that should have been a part of song number 12, Fiddle About, which is just more sexual trauma for Tommy, this time at the hands of Uncle Ernie, who's a little bit drunk. Uncle Ernie's a piece of shit and deserves the wood chipper. But song number 13, you all know what song number 13 is. It's fucking Pinball Wizard. Everybody and their grandma has heard this song. You were probably introduced to this song by your grandma, if you're my age, and your grandmother was, around at the time. My parents were older than a lot of other people's parents, only by a decade. They were in their, not important information. Not important information. One of my parents is still alive, and the other one that is dead died in his 50s. So, yeah. And that was last year. So, yeah. Anyway, not important information. But it's fucking Pinball Wizard. It's Tommy is skilled as hell at pinball and is gathering followers unintentionally, apparently. It's great. It has the closest thing I could equate to a guitar solo in this, but it's more of an intro. So, yeah. Song number 14, There's a Doctor. It's another stupidly separated track that, honestly should have been part of song number 15, Go to the Mirror, or Go to the Mirror should have been called There's a Doctor, and just and it had an extra 24 seconds. Again, it's one of those stupidly separated tracks that doesn't need to be there. It's just why? It doesn't need to be there. It's totally pointless. Or it should be part of the next song. It's dumb. Anyway, But go to the mirror. Finally, Tommy is cured, of his purely psychological condition. His eyes were reacting, and so the doctor was like, oh, this is all just a psychological thing. Got it. So, yeah. Tommy, can you hear me? I got nothing for Tommy. Can you hear me? We gathered this from the last song, and honestly could have been part of the last song. You know what I mean? Song number 17, Smash the Mirror. Tommy's mom smashes the mirror, and Tommy is finally fully cured, fully pulled out of his deaf, dumb, and blind bullshit. It's just like, hey, the kid can function now. The dude can function now. I don't know over what period of time this album takes place, by the way. It's like, the kid's just born, and then by Christmas he's like 10, and by the end of the album he's supposed to be in his 20s. Okay, it's odd. But yeah. Sensation, this is the first song from Tommy's perspective. It's describing the joys of having sensations and being a sensation. Song number 19, Miracle. Song number 19, Miracle Cure. It's 12 seconds. It's dumb. It should have been the end of the last song. It's stupid. You gather nothing. Song number 20, Sally Simpson. It's sort of this like weird kind of side story about this, teenage girl or mid-20s girl who wants to fuck Tommy, but when she rushes the stage, she gets injured, and then she goes to marry a rock musician in California, and she keeps the scar to remember the day. Cool. All right. Real dumb, real stupid. I kind of get irritated with this album towards the end. Song number 21, I'm Free. Tommy is free of his trauma and is now a cult leader. Yeah! Tommy is now a cult leader. Song number 22, Welcome to the Cult of the Pinball Wizard. That's all the more you need there. Finally, we get to song number 23, Tommy's Holiday Camp. It's 57 seconds. Uncle Ernie is involved now. Apart from that piece of information, this song is totally unnecessary. It's totally unnecessary to begin with. It's 57 extra seconds that don't need to be there. But we get to the final song, song number 24. We're Not Gonna Take It, not to be confused with the Twisted Sister song. If you want, and Tommy's basically like, if you want to be like me, you need to experience the same trauma, so put on your eye shades, put in your earplugs, you know where to put the cock. Those are the actual lyrics. And the album doesn't really end, it just kind of stops. And in general, the album, it's a good album, but this album is definitely more about the lyrics than it is the music. It's not sort of 50-50 or 70-30 like The Lamb Lies Down on Broadway was, where, The Lamb Lies Down on Broadway kind of, was 70% music at times. And it's definitely not like what I consider to be the greatest concept album, The Wall, where it's, the music and the lyrics are just perfect for everything. But yeah, definitely a good album. I'm not going to say go buy it necessarily, because there are moments of it that are long and don't need to be there, and just kind of, Musically, The Who have made some good fucking music. What the fuck are you? It's a big-ass, weird-looking bug, folks. Anyway, I hope that thing fucks off. Because I don't like that. But anyway, it's kind of longer than it needs to be, a little bit, and at the same time not long enough, you know what I mean? And the music, the Who have never been, for the most part, I don't really listen to the Who for, the guitar solos. I listen to the Who, kind of because I just want to hear some fucking rock and roll, in all honesty. But yeah, it's a good album. Don't necessarily buy it, but definitely go stream it on Spotify. That's not a product placement. It's just that's the best place to stream it. You look it up on YouTube if you want to. But yeah, it's a good album. Thank you all very much for watching. If you've enjoyed this video, like, comment, subscribe, and all that bullshit. If you want to hear me talk about something other than music, I have a podcast with two of my buddies. It's called Dorkies. I will leave a link to the latest episode of that in the description down below. And if you want to hear what I happen to be listening to that day, or a 15-second segment at least, you can follow me on Instagram. I will leave a link to that in the description down below. I post a song on my story there every single day. And with that, I would like to thank you all very much for watching, and I would like to remind you to stay weird and keep jamming. See you in the next one. Take care.